It started for me really, well, there was two events that probably started it. The one was that I started facilitating a 12-step addiction recovery program in a community setting with people with various forms of addiction. It was actually, we were just volunteered to help, my wife and I, and we were actually involved in it for 5 years.
Sure.
But during that time, I became increasingly aware of just how satisfying it was for me and what a significant change this kind of intervention could have in people's lives, and just how gratifying the changes that I did see were for me personally. And this stood in stark contrast to my business, which afforded me no such gratification, no such fulfillment. Almost kind of like a meaningless element to it, and just sort of going through the motions there just to pay the bills. And then there was this element of my life that was just so satisfying. And so that definitely contributed to me starting to making a decision to actually move into this field and start studying. And then I think some other things that also motivated me was my daughter went through quite a tumultuous time in her life. A lot of stuff went on for her in her own family, and I think it's together with this, I became really aware of how emotional health and family systems affect somebody's well-being in the short, medium, and long term. And that the most important thing one can do is to actually grow your self-awareness, become aware of of all the elements that shape you to be who you are in the present. That it's more important work than almost anything else that you can do. And that if you don't do that work, you can end up in some pretty messy situations where you're almost baffled by how you got there. But that when you actually examine it, the reasons you're there are really evident, but they need to be dug up and they need to be worked on. And if you don't do that work, you will simply repeat these patterns in your life over and over again. So between these two events, I just really became excited about doing this. And of course, once I started studying, I was just really taken up with just how complex the field was, how exciting it was, and stimulating. It's the human brain is the most complex thing in the universe, and so it's just an endless source of learning and fascination. One of the problems I had with businesses was I would become bored really quickly. Even in more complex settings, as soon as I mastered it, I was bored. And I realized that with psychology, you could just never get bored. It was just way too much for any one mind to ever fully comprehend. So there's this eternal journey of exploration for both those involved in offering the service and for those who are taking up the service.